Let's bring in Carl Szabo, Vice President of NetChoice and General Counsel and Professor of Internet Law at George Mason University. Carl, before we get to the nitty-gritty, your reaction to this massive pressure campaign by the FBI literally in the halls of Twitter.
You know, this is the type of thing that keeps me up at night. This is what I fight against every single day. This is government coercion of private businesses to host and remove content that the government, in this case, rogue, woke federal employees, want to prevent. And this should shock and terrify all of us. This is the very thing that our founders fought against. This is the very thing that the White House has a simple answer of. This is wrong. This is not what our government does, and this is shameful. Now, I'm really excited that you had Representative Comer on because he, Jim Jordan, and McMorris Rodgers are doing what Republicans do best. We come with solutions. And they have legislation in Congress today that would make it illegal for the White House, for the FBI, the Department of Homeland Security, these woke federal agents from engaging in this type of political coercion. And they will go after not the agency, but after the federal employees where it hurts, their paychecks and their pensions. And regardless of what you say about federal employees in politics, one thing they care much more about politics is their pensions. So I'm really excited for Republicans coming forward with solutions to this really terrifying government coercion.
Well, there's another solution out there on the table. And as a professor of internet law, you know this better than anybody. It's called Section 230. So, Carl, how can Twitter and other big tech companies still say they deserve Section 230 immunity when they are literally controlled by the government, as all these Twitter files reveal?
So once the government forces you to do something you don't want to do, that's a First Amendment issue. And we actually filed we filed an amicus brief in a case right now against the Health and Human Services Commission on COVID suppression. This is all about the First Amendment. It is about how is the government leaning on these private businesses. And what you heard from these, from the reporter from these files is that the FBI was constantly pressuring Twitter and constantly forcing them to do investigations, leaning on them to do more suppression of speech. And it's not just Twitter. We heard this from Facebook, from Mark Zuckerberg when he was on Joe Rogan. So this is systemic. This is something that needs to be stamped out. And I'm really excited when Republicans take the gavel and start hauling the FBI, the Department of Homeland Security, and other agencies before Congress and holding them accountable for their actions against the American people.
Meantime, disgraced FTX founder Sam Bankman-Fried back in a Bahamas jail today, but has reportedly agreed to be extradited to the U.S. Is this him just trying to get out of the horrific conditions as reported in this jail, or something else going on here, Carl?
Yeah, I mean, for yet another dad joke, I mean, this is Bahamian living. Apparently living in a Bahamas prison is no enjoyment. Now, one thing we are seeing from Sam Bankman-Fried, and you don't have to be a crypto expert to understand this, like this is a case of fraud, plain and simple. He stole from the American people. He stole from his investors. And what did he do with that money? He bought houses in the Bahamas. What did he do? He bought cars. And what's not often discussed by a lot of news agencies other than yours is he gave more than $40 million to the Democratic Party and Democratic election committees as part of one of the largest donors to the Democratic Party this past election cycle. So maybe he's trying to get back to the U.S. because he'll get a warm reception from Democrats like Maxine Waters up on the Hill, rather than what he's facing in Bahamas right now.
And no hearing in front of Congress. That magically went away when that arrest happened just moments before the hearing was scheduled. Carl Szabo, thanks so much for your time, sir. Appreciate it.
I'm Steve Doocy.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.